So joining us, editor Ian Moore from Page Six, and you've had a pretty wild weekend hanging out at the Oscars.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how wild it actually was because the Oscars this year were pretty predictable, right? I mean, everybody thought that Oppenheimer would win everything, and it basically did. And no one got slapped, thankfully. There was no physical assaults this year at the Oscars. But I basically am at the show, and really a lot of the action happens away from the cameras, right? So when you're actually there, you get to see a lot of stuff that you just don't get to see at home.
And that's why I'm saying it's wild, because you actually got to be backstage behind everything. So fill us in on some of the things that you got to see.
Basically you have a seat in the audience. So you're there in the theater. Um, but really all the action happens. There's like a bar in the lobby, right? And that's where all the real stuff happens. So everything interesting that you get to see either happens in camera breaks, like in the theater when people aren't on camera, or downstairs in the lobby at the bar, because basically all the stars and all the executives run out to the bar during the commercial breaks. And then sometimes they don't make it back into the theater. Like one item that we reported was that Emma Stone actually came out to the lobby and she ended up chatting with Kirsten Dunst. But the conversation went on a little bit too long. So her own movie, Poor Things, won 3 Oscars in a row. And she was stuck in the lobby basically watching her movie win on a monitor, and sort of, she was happy, she was tearing up, but she was also saying, I should be there, because obviously the cameras would be cutting to her in her seat 3 awards in a row, and she wasn't there to see it.
I mean, obviously, the alcohol was a little bit better than winning, I guess, at that moment.
I have to say, in her case, and this might be TMI, it was really that the bathroom was more enticing than winning. I mean, she wasn't running to the bar for a cocktail. She basically was, the bathrooms are also in the lobby. And the thing is, if you see that, she was wearing a Louis Vuitton dress. These dresses are like very elaborate. I don't know. I don't want to venture a guess, but I suppose it probably is pretty difficult to maneuver once you get into the restroom with your very elaborate gown.
I mean, we did see what happened to the back of her gown as well. It actually ended up ripping, which she said happened because she was dancing to the Ken song.
Right. I mean, it's funny because I think that was in part because of the Dance to the Ken song, but also because she was running around quite a bit. And we did see her basically every time she left the theater, which was a number of times, she really was running in her dress, which you just don't see. And there wasn't a lot of room for her legs to move. So we actually had noticed the dress was kind of already coming apart, I think, before the Ken number. So it was
Ooh.
kind of doomed. I think throughout the evening, it was unraveling. So
You
she
know,
can't blame it all on Ryan Gosling.
I did see in one of the videos too is that she did bend over pretty quickly to either put something down or pick something up. So that could have been maybe when she, added to the split.
Yeah, basically, so when she, as I mentioned, when she saw her movie win 3 Oscars in a row and she knew she wasn't there and should have been there, I mean, she was very happy, but she was also sort of overwhelmed and overcome with emotion. So then once she could get back in the theater, she was rushing so much she dropped her phone and she couldn't really bend down to pick it up. And it was like kind of a whole thing. So there was a lot of drama behind the scenes. The Ken number that you referred to was such a hit actually with the crowd at the show itself that people came out of the theater and there were chants of Ken, Ken, Ken in the hallways. I mean, people were going crazy. And then one thing that was pretty amusing is the Ken dancers, after that routine was over, I saw them. They were all at the bar too, and they were all in their like cowboy hats and sort of bedazzled Western gear, getting a bunch of drinks and celebrating. So all the Kens were hanging out after.
Now let's talk about the Vanity Fair party. Anything crazy happened there that you got to see?
The Vanity Fair party, I mean, the craziest thing in the Vanity Fair party is really just the incredible mashup of celebrities and famous people that there are there. It's just so wild to see, it's everywhere you look. Um, Everybody is somebody, and there's some really funny, um, combinations of people, whether it's like, seeing Beck talking to Judd Apatow or, whoever. I mean, some make more sense, like Kim Kardashian and Lindsay Lohan were hanging out. But I think the headlines out of the Vanity Fair party really were that Kim Kardashian left with Odell Beckham Jr. We've previously reported that, they've been rumored to be an item, but they've really kept their alleged relationship under wraps. That goes as far back as July 4th, when they were at a party in the Hamptons together. So, seemingly confirming that something is going on there, they left a couple parties together. At the party itself, they kept it pretty low key. The thing is also, it's a 10,000 square foot party, and as I said, it's wall to wall celebrities. So, it's sort of easy to hide in plain sight because everywhere you look, something is going on.
I bet.
One thing that was interesting from a industry standpoint is there was one top Hollywood agent I was talking to, and he was scanning the room and wondering, are there any big movie stars left in Hollywood? Because a lot of the most famous people there are like, a Kim Kardashian or a Jeff Bezos. It's not going to be, Julia Roberts wasn't there, and Leonardo DiCaprio wasn't there, Brad Pitt wasn't there. So who are the big movie stars these days? And to his point, I think the person I saw who had the most star wattage at this party, who just lit up the room more than anyone else, was actually LeBron James.
Ooh.
I mean, LeBron James he came in like he owned the place. He looked like $1,000,000, a bunch of other cliches, but he just had this incredible presence and star power that there's certain people who have it. Brad Pitt is one of them. I mean, Tom Cruise, Will Smith, and LeBron James really had that. So I think he was really kind of the biggest star of the night in the room.
Who do you think stayed the longest? Like, who's the biggest partier you may have seen there?
That's a good question. It's funny because the party does, like any party you've been to, it's like it starts early and it goes very late and it kind of switches over. Like at some point, a lot of people are gone and you can feel the vibe is shifting into like the party people mode who are kind of in it to win it. So there are people who are in it to win it. I mean, you might have seen the pictures. Barry Keoghan basically ended up kind of stripping down to like a tank top. He was there. So there have been rumors before that he'd been dating Sabrina Carpenter. They basically confirmed their relationship by appearing on the red carpet together. They were dancing together, they were hanging out, and then he sort of stripped down to this like mesh, tank top. So he was definitely having a good time and enjoying the party.
Oh, that is so sweet. They look so cute together, I have to say. I'm actually really, really happy for them.
It was very sweet. They were like holding hands the whole time. It was actually really nice.
Aw, well, thank you so much, Ian, for joining us and telling us everything that went on behind the scenes. And of course, for all the information that we need to know about more behind the scenes stuff, we could always check out page6.com.